It's historic and unprecedented. For the first time, 10 Downing Street is the home of an Indian origin Prime Minister. Rishi Sunak took over UK's reins in the midst of an economic and political turmoil. Remember, Sunak is a self-professed devout Hindu, even took oath on the Bhagavad Gita in the UK Parliament, the first ever British MP to do so. Every year he celebrates Diwali and is often seen praying at mandirs with his family. While it's a matter of pride for India to have an Indian origin man now at the helm of affairs in the United Kingdom, the ecosystem has seized the opportunity to preach about inclusivity. It seems every single opportunity is taken to run down India, because even as a devout Hindu took office in London, there was a tirade unleashed against India, with many asking, with the majoritarian politics of the BJP now in play, can India ever have a minority prime minister?
मैं तो बोला कि इंशाल्लाह मेरी जिंदगी में या मेरी जिंदगी के बाद एक हिजाब पहनने वाली बच्ची भारत की प्राइम मिनिस्टर बनेंगी बोल मैं तो बोला हूं ये बात.
Not yet reached the stage where a minority person can become prime minister of this country, that is India. But we do hope we'll at some time elect a Muslim as prime minister of the country.
BJP will appreciate even a Muslim of Bharatiya Janata Party becomes Prime Minister of the country. Not at all.
ये नौबत आ गई है कि हिंदुस्तान भारत को इंग्लैंड से अनेकताओं को कैसे सम्मान देना, हमें उनसे सबक लेना पड़ता है. पिछले 8 सालों में जो हम देखे हैं, और हमें किसी और देश से सबक सीखने की जरूरत नहीं है. हमारी एकता अनेकताओं से ही मजबूत होगी.
The BJP, though, was quick to come back with a fact check and said that India's secular fabric does not need to take any lessons on inclusivity from anyone, leave alone the United Kingdom. They also, in fact, recounted various occasions on which members of the minority have been appointed to and have occupied places, the senior most positions in government and in fact in the country. Let me take it across to the panel who are joining us now. Tuhin Sinha, spokesperson of the BJP, is with us, along with Lokesh Jindal, political analyst, and Kapil Sidhan, also a political analyst. It's strange that a lot of people are saying the UK should be teaching a lesson to India. Why, Lokesh Jindal? What lesson should India learn exactly?
Yes, good evening, everybody. Now, what we see around is there is not a single Muslim representative in the present-day government.
You saying that Rishi Sunak is Prime Minister because he's Hindu? Because they wanted to have a Hindu, so they said, "Chalo, let us pluck out Rishi Sunak and make him."
It's not that. 20% of the population in India is comprising of Muslims. However, the present government does not even have a single MP who is Muslim.
But
so when you're
the government does not have to be according to representative. You know that you have to take 1%, 1%, 1%. It has to be according to merit.
See, democracy means inclusion. Democracy means representation. So when you are completely excluding one entire community from the political landscape of the country, what message does it indicate? It clearly shows that the government is hell-bent upon having some form of a majority authoritarian rule. And
but sir, for a moment, see, let us go back to the basics. Are you suggesting that Rishi Sunak is Prime Minister of UK because he is Hindu?
No, I'm saying that Rishi Sunak is Prime Minister of UK because they have a functional democracy.
Oh, we have a dysfunctional democracy, is it?
That we ought to learn from UK.
But we ought to learn from UK. But then tell me, why doesn't the UK have a Dalit Prime Minister? Are they anti-Dalit?
No. See, the point is the very
why
fact
don't they have a black Prime Minister? Are they anti-black?
A minority candidate is able to reach the most powerful office in that country shows that the democracy indeed is functional. However, in India,
so are people who are of African origin? Why doesn't the UK have somebody of African origin? Are they anti-black?
No, what I'm saying is, while distributing the party tickets, why can't the political party BJP even consider that even Muslims need to be represented in the parliament? Or even the
do you realize that this is the lamest excuse to try and keep berating your country? I mean, what is it?
It's important to understand what we mean by democracy, a functional democracy.
Okay, what is democracy? Let's happy to learn. What is democracy?
Democracy is inclusion, ma'am. Democracy means political empowerment. It means representative form of a government where every individual is able to aspire for the highest political office. But in India, is it possible today? The government, it comes down with acts such as Citizenship Amendment Act, NRC Acts, where it is disenfranchising those who are liable to be political citizens in India.
Okay.
Now, with such a form of a government, with such a form of policy, how can you say that we are functioning?
Okay, you are not even a democracy, Tuhin Sinha. You have ceased to be a democracy because, look, a practicing Hindu is the Prime Minister of UK, but a practicing Muslim is not the Prime Minister of India. What is this?
To all your viewers, when the Honourable Prime Minister Modi ji recently appealed to people to get rid of the slavery mindset in totality, I think he was particularly referring to people like Shashi Tharoor, who can never shed their colonial mindset. So today, he wants us to draw lessons from UK and very conveniently forgets that the Congress itself had installed a Sikh Prime Minister for 10 years. We've had 3 Muslim presidents in the country. We have had 1 Sikh president in the country. So I think, we don't need sermons in inclusivity. But the larger issue, why Shashi Tharoor's tweet was particularly mischievous, I'll tell you that. Number one, look at when he refers to visible minority, I think, he doesn't believe that anybody apart from any other community apart from the Muslim community is a visible minority. That is what makes the tweet particularly mischievous, because if you look at this government, for the first time we have given the country a tribal president. For the first time you have a minister from the northeast. So if you talk about representation, this government is the ultimate example of a representative government from all sections of society. Secondly, I've told you before, secondly, when they talk about democracy, look at the hypocrisy.
Lokesh Jindal, first, slavish mentality. Respond to slavish mentality. This is your slavish mentality. UK will always be better for you.
When we talk about democracy,
Sir, let's say it's my turn to speak. I am Lokesh Jindal.
Recently, they held
when I'm talking about colonial mindset, let us be very clear that this colonial mindset was based upon the policy of divide and rule, which is the present policy of this government. So when you're talking about colonial mindset, it represents the present policy and not the policy of the Congress. It was Congress which gave a minority prime minister in the form of Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. And when you're talking about ceremonial posts of president, whether it is the present president, the entire country knows that it is indeed the highest office, but it is a ceremonial office. It is not the most powerful office. The most powerful office is that of a prime minister. And right now, the present BJP government doesn't even have a cabinet minister which belongs to such a large minority in India.
So you're saying, just to be clear, Lokesh Jindal, just to be clear, you're saying that for any party to show that they are democratic or that they are secular, they should install a Muslim prime minister. Is that your argument?
Well, I want to ask a question.
No, answer my question first. Answer my question. You are saying that in the last 8 years, democracy/secularism has died in India because there has been no Muslim prime minister.
And it is slowly withering away.
So then tell me, in the years before Mr. Modi became prime minister, how many Muslim PMs did the Congress make?
Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, he belonged to the Sikh minority. And he was made the prime minister considering his merit.
We were talking about Muslims. You said there should be a Muslim prime minister. For the last 5 minutes, you've been going on and on about a Muslim prime minister. Why didn't the Congress in the last 70 years make a Muslim prime minister? How many Muslim prime ministers did your party make, sir?
Functional democracy will come into existence in India, and true democratic functioning of the government shall take place, and these people will learn what exactly is democracy.
So now you're saying that India is a good place because we did have a minority prime minister, which is Dr. Manmohan Singh.
Yes, certainly.
So India is a good place, right? So then what do we have to learn from the UK? We had a minority prime minister even before UK knew what minority was.
That was because Nehru had laid down the foundation for a functional democracy, which the present government is hell-bent upon withering away.
Okay, Tuhin Sinha.
In fact,
we got Dr. Manmohan Singh because Nehruji laid that democratic, roots. But you are chipping away.
One can only enjoy the hypocrisy of these people, because if they're really concerned about Muslim leadership, why don't they woo back Ghulam Nabi Azad and make him the president? Why doesn't Mamata Banerjee make Firaq Hakim the president of her party? Why doesn't a Muslim woman to head the party?
Kapil Sidhan, there is still time. Maybe Ghulam Nabi Azad Saab can be taken back and made the Congress president. Why not?
Padmaja Ji, one thing, I think I should start by making a statement that it does not require even a validation that the BJP drives and thrives on massive polarization. And why I'm raising an issue of polarization is that we regularly see our Prime Minister visiting different temples. He is always there on any inauguration of any temple. We've seen in Kashi Vishwanath, we saw in Ayodhya, we saw in Mahakal also. How many mosques Prime Minister Modi has visited in the past 8 years? Can you please name a few of them? There would be none. Now, while I would simply say, while you want to make someone
so hold on a second. You're saying hold on a second. That's very interesting. So let me just quickly ask you this. Rishi Sunak, who is being held up as the epitome right now of how UK is a functional democracy, also went out and he did Gau Puja and he swore on the Bhagavad Gita, but I don't remember in the recent past him also having gone to a mosque. And he lit diyas also. He didn't sit there and he put chadars. So are you saying he is also polarizing?
No. Let me give
Rishi
you a context.
Sunak is polarizing, then your entire premise falls flat.
You have to give me a chance so that I can give you an answer.
So
I mean, you can't,
here's the thing. Let's first decide, is Rishi Sunak secular or is he polarizing?
I will give you an answer. I will give you an answer. While one must be absolutely proud of his culture and his roots, and same applies for Mr. Modi, he should be proud and he should be following his religious practice. Everyone has an equal right insofar as their personal culture and their rights are concerned. But at the same time, when you are holding the highest office of the country, you can't be a mute spectator when your leaders give hate speeches live,
Mr. Madan, right now you said that as opposed to Rishi Sunak, Mr. Modi is a polarizing figure because he is going to Kashi Vishwanath, he is not going to mosque. Name two mosques that Rishi Sunak has gone to.
But
name two mosques that Rishi Sunak has gone to.
My question is different. If you are asking a question,
you started a premise, now you want to jump away from it.
All I am asking is why can't the Honourable Prime Minister make a statement against the hate speeches? Why can't you make a public call of brotherhood and peace amongst the community? How difficult is that?
Actually, by the way,
how difficult is that?
I don't know what your definition of hate speech is. Now you quickly change the goalpost. By the way, in addition to worshipping,
I am not.
So okay, then answer my specific question. Answer my specific question. The epitome of Rishi Sunak, who we all must learn from, and we must learn from UK. How many mosques has he visited after he visited a temple on Janmashtami? Answer this.
Well, I need to check. I need to check that. I mean, I don't have that.
If Mr. Modi is polarizing by going to Kashi Vishwanath, Rishi Sunak is also polarizing by going to a Krishna temple on Janmashtami. Leave that. I don't remember Modi ji doing Gau Puja. Rishi Sunak went and did Gau Puja.
Now, let me give you...
If he did Gau Puja, you would be doing cartwheels over here right now.
Now, Padmaja ji, do you have a statement by Rishi Sunak where he's doing a comparison between Shamshan Ghat and Kabristan?
Actually,
is there any kind of polarizing statement?
I do have a statement from Rishi Sunak which goes as follows. And let me quote, sir. Let me quote. You might just change your name. You might just change your opinion about Rishi Sunak right now. Here is what Rishi Sunak said. The UK has been a victim of terror with blasts taking place in London. I feel that Islamic terrorism is not a threat just to the UK, but it is an ideology that is a threat to the whole world. I mean, you might just be doing a rethink about Rishi Sunak. The man is worshipping the cow. He is saying Islamic terror is a threat to the whole world, and not just Islamic terror, he is saying Islamic ideology is a threat to the whole world. Kapil Madan.
Padmaja ji, terror is a threat to the whole world.
Islamic terror.
I mean, where is the dispute?
Islamic ideology is a threat to the whole world.
Is there any second school of thought that, if there are certain Islamic organizations who are indulging in the act of terror, and we should be prepared and we should be fully equipped to answer them?
Okay, I'm glad that you're saying that Islamic terror is a thing. All right, quickly, Tuhin Sinha wants to come in, and then even Lokesh Jindal wants to join issue. Yes, Tuhin Sinha.
There is a fundamental difference between their thought process and our thought process. We strongly believe that India is a spiritual and civilizational democracy which draws her strength from the ancient virtues of Sanatan Dharma. And that is where they will never be. Number two, he's talking about hate speeches. Most of the hate speeches in the last 10 days have emanated from Congress people. Shivraj Patil compares Krishna's Updesh to Arjun in Mahabharata to jihad. Do you condone that? Will you take a stand against it and condemn?
Sir, how is that a hate speech? Please enlighten me.
Arjun Kharge's video had been doing the rounds where he's saying that आप अगर मोदी जी को दोबारा प्राइम मिनिस्टर बनाओगे तो आप सनातन धर्म को रिवाइव करोगे.
Lokesh Jindal.
So these statements, yes, we will.
These all graduates from the WhatsApp university don't know what they are saying. Now, when I'm talking about the present policy, Rishi Sunak, Mr. Sunak, who says that Islamic terrorism is a threat for the globe. So let me tell you, he's also not an authority so as to give some dictates or commandments to the world.
Abhi, you started the show by saying we should learn from the UK thanks to Rishi Sunak. Now you have completely cancelled him as a nobody.
I appreciated the functional democracy of UK. Doesn't mean
so UK has made Rishi Sunak. Rishi Sunak had no role to play in becoming Prime Minister.
Congratulations to him for becoming the Prime Minister of UK. But he is not so from some form of authority so as to lay down dictates and verdicts as to what is the cause for...
just on a lighter note, since we are all supposed to be learning lessons right now, what would happen and what lesson should we learn just in case? Just in case Rishi Sunak goes and does Gau Puja after becoming Prime Minister. Does he remain somebody to aspire to or will he be cancelled? Lokesh Jindal.
The lesson that we need to learn is we must give the freedom to practice religion to minorities also, so that they can wear their hijab if they want, so that they can live the way of life which they want in India, and not restrict them and tell them what they ought to do and what they not to do.
Is France a functional democracy?
Well, that depends on the track record. I won't say that it's altogether a functional democracy.
Interesting, because in our dysfunctional democracy, Mr. Jindal, outside of places which have a dress code, hijabs are very much allowed. Guess where they are not allowed? In France. I'll leave it at that. Thanks very much, gentlemen. We all love secularism, democracy, but to use somebody else's example to try and trash our own country, well, if it's based on facts, you're welcome. But it really has gone to ridiculous extremes. Thanks very much, all gentlemen, for joining me.